Them that's got. The smell of crackling roast pig skin wafted over the dunes, past the crabs fucking excitedly in small pools of water, under the boardwalk responsible for the town's booming tetanus plague, and into the nostrils of a man holding up a steel bucket into which another man was shitting. The feces hit the bucket with a plop reminiscent of afterbirth tumbling onto the delivery room floor, although without the promise of new life. "Smells great," Callus's Calhoun remarked as he swished around the bucket's contents. "And good consistency, too. This will make great throwing poop." "You don't get to be king of the underwalk without knowing how to shit in a bucket," Six Fingers Mulroney, king of the underwalk, said. "Now, are you ready to freak out some squares?" Calhoun gripped the bucket handle tightly. This was his first raid on the outside world since joining with the hobos of the underwalk, the fabled group of free men and women who dwelled beneath the Atlantic City boardwalk. The grueling initiation tested his resolve, fighting a pack of stray dogs to become their alpha, drinking garbage juice from the bottom of a dumpster, building a hovel with working plumbing out of a stray assemblage of refrigerator boxes, all leading to his rechristening. He had thrown off the shackles of the slave name society had given him, Charles Fauntleroy Montgomery, and became Callus's Calhoun, so named for the thick pads of skin crust which served as his shoes. Mulroney led him to a dune overlooking the partying revelers, the high society lords and ladies, these kings of casinos, these old jerks of New Jersey. "When I give the signal, you execute Plan B-19, Mulroney ordered. "What's the signal?" Mulroney jumped to the top of the dune and pulled out his penis, then quickly began masturbating. "My father was a bread boy, and I'm a bread boy too," he screamed. "There ain't no hate in a sandwich." Calhoun assumed that this was the signal and scrambled up to his mentor. A small amount of bucket poop got in his mouth, but all glory has a price. He tossed the pail, spraying an arc of shit across the celebrating socialites. Mulroney dashed forward and heaved the roasting pig over his shoulder, moving with surprising agility for a man with so few toes. Calhoun surveyed the still reeling beachgoers until his eyes met a girl's. More accurately, his eyes met the layer of human feces over the girl's eyes, but when she wiped it away, their connection only strengthened. "Run, boy," Mulroney yelled. "They'll have their flails and maces and spiked chains out soon enough." Ever since the local history museum had sold their overstock to the townspeople, life for a hobo had grown significantly medieval. Calhoun sped away, but even when returned to the Safeway of the safety. I go to a lot of Safeways. Club card member. When he returned to the safety of the underwalk and his refrigerator box, he couldn't escape the girl's gaze. Maggot Maggie's advice hadn't been a comfort either. "There's 3 types of people," she said, gesturing with a fermenting turkey leg. "Them that's got, and them that ain't." "What about the third person?" "There's a third person in this room? I'll kill him! Show yourself, invisible man!" Her every gesticulation threw maggots about the box, but protein was hard to come by anyway. Gabby Reynolds was more helpful, as his relentless stalking of high society dames rendered him the de facto town gossip. Blonde, about 5'10", covered in fecal matter, sounds like Sarah Schultz. The Schultzes were of the more important Atlantic City families, as their patriarch Euronymous had made his name around the turn of the century by driving out all the Irish. Very fertile, decent birthing hips, and a fine pair of full, supple Jew titties. Gabby had often remarked that the 3 most important qualities in a woman were the uterus, hips, and breasts, in descending order. "She's the prize at the firewalk tomorrow." The Atlantic City annual firewalk had been a tradition established by the Schultzes to celebrate when they used a ring of fire to protect the city from an Irish horde. The prize every year was a date with their most eligible daughter, except for that 5-year period when the most eligible daughter hadn't hit puberty, so they just gave everyone free fish sandwiches. There were very few complaints, mostly from pedophiles. He hadn't been able to get her out of his head. Sarah Schultz, he repeated to himself aloud through the night, with the occasional Sarah Calhoun thrown in just to hear how it sounded. In the morning, he swore the pile of cum and piss in his underwear spelled out her name. Or Sauron, depending on from what angle you looked at it. The sun set and the smell of coals burning permeated even under the boardwalk. As Calluses approached the dunes, he felt a hand on his shoulder. "You're at a crossroads, boy," Six Fingers Mulroney said. "You're gonna pitch yourself at that girl, and you'll either come back here a broken bastard not fit to drop a load into a pile of rags, or you'll be with her, and you'll be with them. Either way, boy, may the hobo's luck be with you." Calhoun nodded and crested the dune. "People of Atlantic City society," he yelled, "I come before you to challenge these burning coals for the hand of your fair maiden." "Hey, it's that guy who threw poop at us yesterday," a random beachgoer said. "Let's get him!" The clink of medieval weaponry caused Calhoun to wince, remembering the time a shopkeeper had thrown a morning star at his gonads. "Wait," Sarah Schultz yelled. "He's invoked the right of trial by fire." The socialites grumbled and sheathed their steel. Calhoun stumbled down the face of the dune and approached the coals. He set one foot forward, then another. Then he stopped. As the seconds passed, gasps and awes emitted from the crowd. "Sarah Schultz," he said, "before I saw you, I didn't know what love was. I was a sad, homeless virgin whose only companion was a pile of rags. But when I saw you, I saw our future. A future where we have sex and do drugs and drink fortified wine. Sarah, come with me to my hobo jungle." Sarah looked at Callus's bare feet roasting on the coals, then at her family, an assemblage of high-status weirdos who are beginning to show the first signs of the genetic consequences of marrying your cousins. "You know what? You people suck. I'm gonna go have sex and do drugs and drink fortified wine in a hobo jungle." She grabbed Calhoun's hand and they dashed under the boardwalk as Mulroney looked.
Calluses, ladies and gentlemen, again,